Good morning. Today is Thursday, October 8th. For lunch today, we have mozzarella pizza dippers with tater tots and marinara sauce, or crispy chicken nuggets, or beef hot dog on a bun. And we're wishing a happy birthday to Hexton Melodzik in the 4th grade. Have a great day. Hey everybody! So this week is homecoming week at Nekoosa High School. Now most years that means parades, pep rallies, people getting together, doing all kinds of stuff that we just can't do this year due to COVID. So when I taught at the high school, I had a lot of students who would often say, I can't wait to graduate and move far away from here to a big city where things are going to be so much different. So I've lived in a lot of big cities. I lived in Zurich, Switzerland for almost a year. I've lived in Madison for about 6 years. I grew up in Salt Lake City, which is the capital and biggest city in Utah. And while it's fun to do things in big cities and spend time there, if I want to live, it's here. And I think it's kind of natural for all of us to be critical of the things we know the best. So today I'd like to spend homecoming week talking about here's the reasons what I love about Nekoosa. Now, one of those things is what you're seeing around me right now, which is these woods and the nature that Nekoosa has around it. So when I taught at NHS, this was my classroom right here, number 110. And I'd have a lot of great days, but I had a lot of hard days too. And I can remember looking out these windows right here, and I'd always see these forests that was just sitting right beyond that. And for me, that was just a chance to take a deep breath and say, okay, the world is bigger than your problems right now. It's easy to do hard things if you have a way to wind down and to be able to relax. For me, just looking at these woods and being able to walk through them whenever I can, that's always helped me just sort of find balance. So you've probably noticed by now that I like to film down here by the river a lot. Part of that's that I live close to the river and I figure you'd rather look at that than my basement. But the biggest part of it is that I didn't grow up anywhere near this much water. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is in the middle of a desert. I'd have to drive at least an hour to get anywhere near this much water, which means that when I was your age, I probably only saw this much water maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So I love living in a place with this much beautiful nature around it. It might be easy to take that for granted. You're thinking, oh, that's just normal. Guess what? This isn't normal for most of the people in the world. This is where people come to visit this. And hey, we get to live right in the middle of it. A second thing I love about Nekoosa is the education. As you might have guessed, that's something that's really important to me. Now, when I went to high school, my graduating class, or the people in my grade, there were more of them, over 400, than there are in all of AMS. And as a result, there was a lot of opportunities to do things, but it was also really easy to get lost. It was also easy not to know everybody and just sort of stick with a few people that I knew and just sort of feel overwhelmed with everybody else. One of the things I love about teaching at Nekoosa and also just having my children grow up in Nekoosa is that you know who people are. You can know the entire school. And that's something that I never got to grow up with. Also with the education theme is that I have 3 children. All 3 of them have attended school here in Nekoosa. And 2 of them have graduated and they're away at college now. But you know what? Even though their high school wasn't as big as some of the other people, they've done very well. They have never been held back and they knew everything they needed to really thrive and do well at college. So for my family, we've had that great balance. We've been able to know the people we're going to school with, but it's also prepared my children for what's coming next. We've had the best of both worlds. So the biggest thing I've loved about living in Nekoosa really is the people. People know who you are. People look out for you. People are taking care of you. This really came home to me big time when my oldest daughter was in 10th grade and she had a stroke. There was some bleeding on her brain. She had to have surgery. She had to relearn how to walk and rework a lot of muscle functions on one side of her body. And it was a long go. It took us a couple years to pretty much work through that. And during that time, so many people reached out to us. I remember especially Mr. Kirchmeyer's mom showed up on my doorstep one time and handed me just a big old bag of blueberries and said, hey, we're thinking of you, here you go. I still have a hard time having blueberry pancakes not thinking of Mr. Kirchmeyer's mom. You know, just people know who you are. They care about you, that you matter. So you might have heard the phrase, the grass is always greener on the other side. that means that we tend to appreciate things that are far away from us more than what's close. But the truth of that is, the grass is always greener where you water it. What do you think about? What do you appreciate? What matters to you? So there you have it. There's my short list of things I love about living in Nekoosa. Now it's your turn. For today's challenge, I'd like you to share with others what you appreciate and what you like about Nekoosa. Yeah, there's plenty to complain about. You can do that another non-homecoming week. Adults, if you could start out, what do you love about teaching? What do you love about working? What do you love, if you live here, what do you like about living in the area? Share with the things that you appreciate, and let's water the grass that we're standing on. All right, you take care.